Welcome, cold-handed ones.
Hi, Tony here, and welcome to another tried and tested gear review. Now, with the temperatures dropping here in the UK, I thought this was a perfect opportunity to test out a pair of heated gloves. Before I go on to what they're like to use on the road, let's have a delve into the technical aspects of these gloves. The construction of the gloves is largely leather. The bulk of it, with the exception of a couple of stretch panels, you've got an accordion stretch on the thumb and a little bit on the inside of the fingers, but the majority of the glove is leather. On the index finger, you've got a conductive leather on there, which means you can use smartphones and devices and still have that touch sensitivity. That's quite nice, and it's quite nice that it blends in with the glove. It's not an extra shiny piece on there. I've tested that seems to work pretty well. As you can see, there is a hard carbon fibre knuckle protector, and alongside that you've also got little bits of extra protection here and there. So there's a padded area on the outside of the thumb, you've got a couple of hard TPU parts on the middle fingers, along the side here and around the where it is partly the ulnar nerve on your hand. You've got an extra protective piece. There's padding here with an extra protective strap here just to protect your wrist. So in general, a pretty robust glove. Another great feature is a squeegee on the index finger. That's on both the right and the left glove. So it just makes it useful for clearing stuff off of your visor or your goggles. But I've had these ones to test for a little while. And these particular gloves have got a Hypora lining and Thinsulate insulation in them. So that's the construction of the gloves. What about the heating part? Well, you've got a very simple button on the back here. If you press and hold that, then a red light comes on, and that means the glove is in its maximum setting. There are 3 settings, and then you cycle through that with a quick press. It goes amber, ambery green. That's your medium setting, and green is your lowest setting, and then that will continue to cycle around, and again another hold on that for a long period, and that turns off. That's the controls. Nice and easy to do with the gloves on, and they're powered by 2 7.4 volt lithium polymer batteries that sit in the cuff. So there's a little connector in here, the battery sits in that cuff, and it gives you up to 4 hours of usage. Now obviously that depends on the conditions and how hot you have to have them on, so you'll get about 4 hours, something like that, out of them. Obviously if you're riding in sub-zero temperatures or very cold temperatures and you want that heat on for longer periods, you're going to need to get yourself a set of separate batteries, and you can order those. You can have a spare set charged up, ready to go. From dead flat, they take about 6 hours to charge. The battery has to be big enough to be able to give you heat for a decent amount of time, but not so big that it becomes heavy and cumbersome in the cuff. And obviously you can't go too small, because then you're just not going to be able to give the right amount of power for the right amount of time. So I think RST have done a pretty good job with that. It seems to be a decent compromise. When you're wearing them like this, they don't really feel any different to another gauntlet glove. Maybe there's, you'll feel a little bit more of weight in there, and obviously it's a little bit bulkier, and that's another compromise that they've got to make. The space in the cuff is pretty decent. You can get this over, I can get this over most of the jackets that I wear, and in fact actually all of the jackets. I was wearing it the other day with the Paragon 5 jacket. If you're riding in very cold temperatures and potentially going to be wet, and I do have to add that these obviously are waterproof gloves, then you're better off pulling that cuff over the top of your jacket, I think, because then you're not going to get any drafts up your sleeves. And you've got a little cinch here to be able to just tighten things up once you've pulled the glove over your jacket. The kit comes with a charger with 2 connectors, so it will charge both batteries at the same time. And once you power the gloves on, they do heat up fairly quickly. I'm already starting to feel the warmth of that through the back of my hand. After a couple of minutes, it's up to full operating temperature. I was riding yesterday on the motorway, 2 degrees, 70 miles an hour. I had it on max, and that kept my hands quite toasty. But after about 20 minutes, half an hour, my hands were warm enough. I was able to give it a quick press, take it down to medium. And then as the journey moved on, things got a bit warmer. It hit a heady 6 degrees, I was able to put it on the minimum, and that just retains the heat in the glove, stops the cold getting to your hands, and that gives you quite a few hours of warmth. And obviously the warmth in the hands is nothing worse than having really cold frozen fingers on the bike. It doesn't help with your controls, and obviously you start to lose concentration as well if all you're doing is worrying about how cold your hands are. Now obviously if you don't have heated grips, heated gloves are a great option. But what about if you do have heated grips? Well, I've tested these and they work really well with heated grips. It means you can turn the heat down of the glove overall and take a lot of the heat from the grip itself. And obviously that means for longer trips you can put it on its most energy efficient setting, which is the lowest setting, and still have toasty warm hands. And what I like is because the bulk of the heat is on the back of the hand, they've managed to keep the palm nice and thin, which means that you still get a really nice feel on the bars. You get a decent amount of dexterity. You can still pull zips and twist knobs and do all the bits and pieces you would need to do with a glove without having a big, bulky, heavyweight winter glove. So in that respect, I think these are really good. And the only other thing that I haven't spoken about with these gloves is the price. In the UK, these currently retail at £189.99, which seems to be about par for the course for heated gloves. I think that's a pretty good deal. If you're riding through the winter, or if you ride a lot in cold weather, it's a really good investment, because not only are you getting that heat, you're also getting a pretty good technical pair of gloves. They're waterproof, they're well insulated, they've got protection, they've got the touch sensitivity for screens, and they're comfortable as well. So if you're in the market for, or just starting to look at heated gloves, I would definitely recommend going to have a look at the RST Paragon Thermotech gloves. Give them a try on, have them powered up, see how they feel, and I think you'll be quite impressed. That's about all for today. Another tried and tested review, and as you know, if you've watched the channel, everything I review on here I will give a test. It has been used in the real world. I don't just take something out of the box and give my opinion on it. The only way to really, for me, give you an honest opinion is to get out there and use them. As I say, I've had these for a while, but the weather's only really got cold enough recently to give them a proper test, and I've been pretty impressed with them. So if this video has been useful, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done already. And if you subscribe, you'll get to see more of the tried and tested gear reviews as they come through, as well as the bike reviews, the bolt-on accessories, and a few other new bits and pieces that will be coming to the channel pretty soon. So apart from that, all that leaves me to say is, as usual, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.